how are we all doing today? So for today's video, I've got some pretty exciting news to share with you guys and the world.
I'm having a solo exhibition! Oh my god, I'm having a solo exhibition! I'm having a solo exhibition! What? I'm having a solo exhibition! I'm having a solo exhibition! I'm having a solo exhibition! I'm having a solo exhibition!
I'm having a solo exhibition.
I'm having a solo exhibition! No one cares!
I'm having a solo exhibition.
Sorry?
Last September, I participated in my very first international group exhibition all the way in the US, all the way in New York at Haven Gallery. And this November, that's exactly where I'll be having my first solo. So it's a pretty big jump, it's pretty exciting, I'm very, very happy. At the very start of the year, Erica from the gallery reached out to me and asked whether I'd be interested in doing a mini solo exhibition. By this point, I had already worked with Erica and Haven Gallery for 2 of their group shows, and I've loved working with them. They're an awesome gallery run by the most kind and lovely people. So of course I said yes. And the biggest thing that struck me was the fact that this gallery had actual faith in my work, enough so to invite me to do, this mini solo. And that thought alone is nice because it's kind of like a pat on the back. Like, I want to film and document this entire process and share it with you guys. I want to show you guys from start to finish how it goes about. Brainstorming, the sketching, the development, all the way through to completing the actual work itself and to the exhibition, because I'll be there. Now the exhibition is just a few months away, so we gotta get to work. Starting off with square one, choosing a theme and an idea. So a few months ago I pitched the idea to Erica of Inner Stream, and to explain that idea I had to take us back to my final year of high school. For my art final, we had to spend a whole entire year developing a body of work around one idea. And the idea I explored was the paralleling of nature to what makes us human. And that probably sounds super wish-washy, but that was 18-year-old me trying to sound, sophisticated. One of my final artworks was this painting, Mind Like a River. It was me trying to portray the human consciousness as something that we see in nature like a river. Because our thoughts are like a river in that they're constant, they're flowing, and they're vast. I imagine that if we could see our consciousness or our thoughts, there'd be these huge rivers, flowing and streaming from our heads. It was an idea that I really loved, and so I wanted to revisit that and explore it further for my show. The theme will probably continue to develop further along the way, and probably even the title. Right now I'm thinking between Inner Stream and Flood. I want the theme to be about letting go and surrendering yourself to that river. In other words, giving into your thoughts, your feelings, and your emotions. To go with the flow rather than trying to fight and contain it. And by doing so, knowing that things will be okay. So that's my idea and my starting point. And from here we start brainstorming and sketching. So let's get to work. Alrighty, so for this show I have to make 8 new pieces, and I'm planning on making 6 new paintings and 2 drawings. I've spent the past couple of weeks brainstorming and sketching all sorts of different things to try and get a feeling for the show. These sketches are super rough, so you probably can't make sense of what they are, which is fair enough because it just looks like nonsense. I usually put some headphones on, listen to some really good music, and make loads and loads of sketches, scribbles, squiggles, scrolls, you name it, and choose a select few ideas from there. From all these sketches, these ones were the ones I felt most connected to. Again, they're not much, but they give me enough to start something with. And it's hard to put in words, but when it comes to choosing what ideas or concepts to go with, I'm always looking for a certain feeling. Sometimes it could be a rhythm, or the way a piece flows, or the composition itself. But ultimately, it's just something that feels right. Which is a bit weird to say, but it is kind of hard to put into words. Sometimes I can end up making several different sketches of the same idea just until it works, and sometimes I'm lucky and straight off the bat the original sketch is enough to run with. With this idea I was really lucky because it was the first sketch I did and I really loved it, and I felt like it was the perfect piece to start with. I just loved the intimacy and the vulnerability in the body language and the kind of vertical movement, like the feeling of falling. I usually make loads and loads of colour tests to mix different colours and to trial different techniques and textures. So I sketch out the composition again and get it ready to paint. Okay, so now we can start swatching and testing out colour palette to see what works best. I've got my box of watercolour paints in here, so I can just see what let's just have a look at what I want to do. This is the little sketch I'm going to be painting in, and we can see what colours will work best onto this. I've got some old swatches from my old previous pieces just for reference. So we're going to be doing this and then translate it onto this. So because the theme is very water-based, the whole idea of in a stream, I'm going to be using a lot of blues. I'm just going to test out different colours and see what mixes best and works well with each other. I want to try Mayan Blue Genuine, Cerulean Blue, Luna Blue, maybe a Winsor Blue, maybe Strathmore Blue. So I have a lot of blues, as you guys can probably tell. A bit excessive, but these are just things that I've accumulated over the years. Manganese blue. Just gonna try as many different blues as I can. Prussian blue, that's that. So I'm going to be working with these. I'm just going to be swatching these. Okay, quick little update. I've just finished testing out some colours, swatching. It's a bit of a mess right now, but this is what I've got. So I've got some different swatches of different kind of blues that I'm considering using. I did like this blue, these two blues, and the darker blue. And I was going to use those for the robes, so the different parts of the robes and the fabric. So those as the main blues. And I've also been experimenting with how I was going to do the background. I wanted to do the background for this bit here and over there, kind of like an ocean. So gradient from the dark blue to the light blue with all the ripples. This is just a bit of a test, it's a bit of an experiment to test out the textures and how I might recreate it. But this little experiment here was testing out the ripples. And so I've got 3 different levels of kind of waves, I guess, overlapping waves. And I've used some white gel pen to kind of outline where the wave will end. I don't know exactly how I'm going to translate that into the big painting, but it looks pretty cool so far. I think I'll run with that and give it a go. So fingers crossed it can work in the real painting. But for now, I'm going to translate all these colour swatches into the actual thumbnail sketch thing. This is like stage 2, stage 3 of the process, and then I can start painting the real thing. So let's give this one a go. With the first ID ready, the next stage for me is to paint a small sketch. I make these little painting sketches because it just helps me get an idea of what the finished piece should actually look like. So I just finished up with the thumbnail sketch, the thumbnail painting, or hand-size painting. I am very happy with how it turned out. The background, I think it looks really, really cool. I somehow got the whole wavy ocean effect really nice with the ripples. The colours look really cool, and here it is. So I'm really happy with how it turned out. I'm happy to go forward. This is the sketch. I think the gold turned out really nice, and the background is really cool, as you can see, with the whole entire ripples, the ocean effect. It's a bit cooler than I'm used to, a bit more muted. And from this stage on, we start the real painting. So time for the line work, and then painting. Boom. Once all the brainstorming, sketching and experimenting stage of the process is over, all that's really left is translating the sketch into the line work and then to the real painting. I take my time with the line work process because I get really picky about things, and the more clear my planning in the line work stage, I find that my later painting processes also tend to be a lot easier to... that basically sums up the start of it all. Now, I'm not too sure what to expect from these vlogs. I guess a lot of it will be just me talking about my decisions, my thought processes, and the challenges I encounter, and I guess just updates on how it's all going. Basically, I guess it's just what I get up to in my studio while I'm working. So I do hope you guys find my boring life somewhat interesting. I'm not too sure how many episodes of this mini-series I can make realistically while working on these pieces, but I'm hoping quite a few leading up to and also of the show. If you guys do want some more details about the exhibition, I'll include some details in the description below, but also feel free to check out Haven Gallery's website or Instagram page for more information about the show or the pieces. Flashing forward, these are the 3 first painted sketches I've done so far, and I'll continue working on these for the show. I wanted some variety throughout the show, so I've included different compositions like this close-up portrait, a half body and a full body. Just because I think it's a bit more interesting to see this kind of variety rather than things being too repetitive and just front-on portraits. And that brings us to the end of today's video. I hope you guys are having an awesome day, make more art, and I'll see you guys soon.
I'm having a solo exhibition.
Sorry?
Can I snatch a frappuccino and the gesso carragher?
What else are you having?
I'm having a solo exhibition. That's it.